let's talk about Tony Robbins and how a few days ago in San Jose, where he was having a motivational speaking event, they had one of those coal walking situations where if you just think hard enough about it and you kind of internalize your emotions, that you'll be able to walk on hot coals with no injuries. Turns out 21 people got injured. 21 people with second and third degree burns.
That's not playing around, man. Second and third degree burns. That's some serious burns. Even one of the guys in the hospital was like, oh, I just didn't have the right frame of mind. No, it wasn't your frame of mind that was a problem. It was your feet that was a problem because they were stepping on coals.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, a lot of times you don't get burned on coal. That's why they do it. It's like the classic parlor trick of magicians, right? And let me let you explain the science of it here.
Well, it seems like coals usually burn between 1,200 and 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, which sounds like definitely hot enough to burn you. But just like when you put your hand in a hot oven and you don't touch the sides, or when you take out a muffin pan, a bread pan, and you touch the bread but you don't touch the pan itself, bread or the air inside is a poorer conductor of heat than metal. Coals are actually a really poor conductor of heat, especially because they have that outer layer of ash. And we also have really thick skin on our feet, so if you keep moving, you can usually walk across coals without getting major injuries. Now, minor burns and blisters are actually kind of part of the game. Apparently people get that.
What a fun game.
Exactly, yay. And apparently people get that all the time. But if you don't move fast enough, if there's any metal, metal, sap, wood, any pieces mixed in with the coals that are better conductors of this heat, you're probably going to get burned. And also, I think another issue was usually the lanes are wider and longer and there are less people in them. And apparently at this particular motivational speaking event, it was, there may have been too many people in too small a space, which would cause people to not be able to walk quite quickly enough.
Right, and might have been a traffic jam, and then you're sitting on the coals for a long time, relatively long time.
Yeah.
And then you're going to get burned.
Yeah.
Now, look, here's the thing. I've seen people walking on coals, and I'm a logical guy, so I know that I'm not amazed by it. I'm not like, oh my God, look at the power of positive thinking. No, apparently you don't get burned that much on average if you walk on coals. And so if you asked me to do it, I'd say, hell no. Why?
No, of course not.
Because sometimes you get burned. Okay, and I once heard that it depends on whether you're nervous or not, because then that gives you a layer of sweat on your feet that also helps to protect you. But then what if I'm not nervous enough? Or what if I'm too nervous? I don't know which one it is. Why take that chance?
Why do it at all? I mean, like we said, we know it's a parlor trick, and we know it comes down to this just woo, this act. This total kind of mumbo jumbo that these, power positive thinking gurus are spitting out there. The only reason I would do it would be to prove the scientific, underpinnings of this, that you can do it in a controlled environment if all of these different factors line up.
And it doesn't matter what you're thinking.
It doesn't matter what you're thinking. Yeah, I love that there's actually a story here where they had to actually type these words. Anthropologists and physicists who have participated in firewalks deny that any particular state of mind is required for successful firewalking. The fact that people don't understand that people think, really, if I just think hard enough about, internalizing the pain or about being positive, that's what overcomes physics?
Yeah.
Come on.
Being nervous and sweating might cause a physiological reaction that could be relevant.
Sure.
But thinking, I'm not going to get burned, I'm not going to get burned, I'm not going to get burned, it doesn't do a goddamn thing. Okay, and as you can tell, the 21 people are in a hospital because apparently it didn't do a goddamn thing.